Hey everybody, welcome back to Barbell Method. This is a follow-up video to a post the other day where we kind of opened a can of worms with mental health and suicide. And if anyone made it through to the end of that, they can attest that it wasn't an instructional how-to manual for either someone going through it or an observer of someone going through it. This post today is going to be a little more oriented around that, but as a precursor, I am not a doctor. If you feel that you need special treatment and attention, then you should go talk to a medical professional. I'm just some dude on the internet throwing out some random advice, and if that resonates with you and you think it will be beneficial, then fantastic. If not, please do your diligence and go where you need to go to get the appropriate help that you need. With that said, I do have experience with death. I do have experience with friends who have committed suicides and friends of friends observing and having gone through the same things. So with that life experience and information gleaned from reading books from other medical professionals like clinical psychologists, biology books, chemistry books, science books, books you can buy from college and still read, there are a few things that I could offer, and take these with discretion, right? So first and foremost, if we are encountering someone going through it, the best thing we can do is listen. And that's kind of what the original post was. It was more of a philosophical, metaphorical, thought-provoking exercise as I shared it, that hopefully would potentially open some windows in some minds that were previously closed, and allow viewing life from a different perspective, perhaps, or at the very least, the ability to imitate the hero analogy and kind of follow that through in whatever way that manifests for you. But listening, that's one of the big things. Thought-provoking questions, get to the heart of what they got going on. Try to avoid talking about yourself as much as possible, and be very, very cautious to provide affirmations. Things like, why are you so depressed? You're so beautiful. I don't understand. Or you've got the best job, or you make so much money, or your life's so great, or you're so attractive, or so fast, so strong, or whatever it is. These affirmations that we believe or we perceive to be, the gatekeepers to happiness and justification for happiness, because we've, for whatever reason, externalized our happiness and attached them to those things. We are almost asserting that they're attached to that too. But what they're actually hearing in that moment is, oh, well, so you're telling me this is as good as it's going to get? Can't get any better than it is right now? Well, I mean, if that's the thought you're going to have, and you're already having radical, terminal thoughts to begin with, that's going to be enough to push you over the edge, right? So avoid affirmations. As much as it's luring to give someone a compliment in that situation, you have to be cautious of the adverse effect. And if you're someone going through it and someone is doing that to you, you need to be aware how that's going to affect you and how it's going to potentially trigger you. And you need to understand that it's coming from a good place. They're not doing it to hurt you. If anything, they're doing it because they love you. And that's what you need to focus on, right? They care about you, and they're putting in the effort to help you out. That doesn't mean they're doing it right, and if that's the case, then you have the power to tell them no. Anybody does. If someone's toxic for you and toxic in your life, and they're not, helping propel you toward where you should be going, then you have the right to cut them out of your life and establish boundaries to keep their toxicity away from your mentally clean, healthy environment or recovering environment, right? Setting boundaries like that and enforcing no is a very cleansing and healing thing, right? So moving beyond that, things to think about, right? Like if you come to me and you say, hey, I'm depressed, and I ask you, okay, well, how much sunlight have you gotten, right? And you're like, wow, I'm a freaking vampire and I don't ever go outside. Well, then shocker. I'm not surprised you're suffering from depression-like symptoms. If I ask you, when's the last time you worked out, or what does your workout regimen look like? And it's pretty much never, or I go walking, I get my 10,000 steps, which for the record, walking is locomotion, right? It's what we use to propel ourselves. It is not an exercise. Don't get me wrong. If it is go walk or nothing, for the love of whatever entity you praise to, go for a damn walk, right? But if we're on a walk and that walk is fatiguing us, that is an indication that we are out of shape and we need to do some exercise, okay? But if your response to what your exercise regimen looks like is pretty much it's non-existent, or I go a couple times and there's no structure plan, there's no fluctuation in intensities and volume with appropriate programming, that if you don't know, you get a professional to do, right? Then again, I'm not surprised if you tell me you're depressed, right? What are the two biggest things we can do to counter depression is A, get the sunlight we need on our skin. That allows us to accumulate enough vitamin D to make it through the day, right? Vitamin D, you want to kind of think of as like your happiness hormone, right? And it comes from the sun, and the best way to get it is through your skin. Now, if you're someone who's fair-skinned or suffers from rosacea or whatever else, would deter you from being in the sunlight, then regulate it in a safe way. But that's the way you got to get it, right? Exercising, aside from all the tertiary benefits of increasing strength, increasing neural patterns in the body, increasing VO2 max, and dealing with stress from relationships or work or just life in general, the endorphin release associated with the completion of that workout, right? Or even just simply reflecting on it as the way, a path to bring mental clarity through exhausting the body, which if you don't know what that means, it's pretty much exactly that. Exhausting the body as a strange way to provide mental clarity, which could be the clear headspace that you're seeking to kind of work your shit out so that maybe life isn't so challenging and you're not feeling so stuck, right? But part of what we're talking about here is trying to be aware of certain things, mindful of certain things, but depending on which side of that perspective you're on. And if you're on the side of going through it, be mindful of what things are going on. Am I getting my sunlight? Am I exercising? Am I spending time with, have I been spending time with the people I enjoy being around? Am I doing and participating in the things that bring me joy and happiness, right? When is the last time I did those things, right? And if we're going through this and we're checking one or all of these boxes as like not happening at all, been a long time, then I'm not surprised if you tell me you're depressed, right? And then if you're depressed and you're having critically extreme thoughts, on the other end of that spectrum, perhaps you should try changing a couple things and integrating a couple new things and do it for a month. See what happens, right? Do you still feel the same way? Yes or no, But if you're not participating in the things that you enjoy, you're not around the people you enjoy being around, you're not getting the adequate amounts of vitamin D intake from the sun, if you're not exercising regularly, check, then I'm not surprised if you're depressed, right? There are a lot more we can do. And if there is more than any of us would like to talk about and discuss as potential options of taking this a few steps beyond and perhaps, working through some of the past traumas of life so that we can discover what it is we're here to do and how exactly we can pursue that starting now so that 6 months or a year from now, we're not in this position anymore, or at the very least moving forward, we've learned a process where if we find ourselves in this thought pattern again, thoughts of extreme polarities, thoughts of depression or whatever, we have a metric or a way of diffusing that situation by asking ourselves some questions, checking some boxes, and then using that to make a change moving forward, doing something different that we've been doing so that we can get to a different place instead of staying at the place we are currently in, doing the things we've been doing already. I hope this found you well and left you better. We'll see you next time.